The market has not won with the disappearance of Schenker, on the contrary.
Welcome, and thanks for listening to Project Cargo Professionals, the new podcast that takes you inside the heavy lift business, produced in partnership with Varamar, the trusted carrier to and from Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. This time, we're in Basel, Switzerland, where I sat down with Ruedi Reisdorf, owner of Fracht, to talk about industry consolidation, what he looks for when he buys a company, and why freight forwarders should never borrow money. Time to talk freight, football, and the future of Fracht. Ruedi, I was trying to do some research on you the other night, and I don't think you've got a LinkedIn page. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. I try to stay in the dark. We did not want to be in the forefront. We let our work do the marketing for us and not present ourselves, but really stand more at the back.
I think you must be one of the few guys in the industry who are not looking on LinkedIn every day.
I don't know what the others do.
So, for those who don't know, tell us the background about Fracht, what the company is, and how you came to be sitting here.
Okay, yes, it's my company, but it was founded by my father in 1955. So we're actually now 70 years old. I started more or less with the day of my birth in our company. No, of course, not right at birth, but really I was taken to the company already at the age of 5, 6. And in my school holidays, I did some filing. This is something that doesn't exist anymore, but it was big, let's say some 40 years ago. And then I started the apprenticeship in our company, went abroad for 7 years to learn more about the international business in seaports and also where we had our business, which was mostly at that time, that was the early 80s, in the Middle East. So I was in the tough countries, Libya, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, but I think if you have a little bit of tough education and experience, it definitely helps in your future career. Now, since the year 2001, I'm at the helm of Fracht, and actually this year, my daughter Andrea will be joining our company. So the idea is that in some years she will take over then, so that we really have a family company ongoing and, let's say, hopefully making a difference in project shipping.
So, your father started the company and he had the same name, correct?
He had the same name, and if I had a son, he would have had the same name too.
So, you were working side by side with him for some time.
Oh, if I may say so, for far too long, because he didn't want to leave. He worked until the age of 88. Okay, of course, you can say less and less, but it was still the old type of what you call patriarch, really. So it was not always easy. Maybe it was also not so easy for him sometimes.
But there'll be people listening to this who are in the same situation, working in a family business, and they're going to lose their parent, the guy that, or the lady that started the business. How do you cope with that as a younger forwarder?
You know, one says the most difficult thing is to open a company, and the second most difficult thing is really to give it to the next generation. And I think this is absolutely true.
I guess in the early days, Switzerland would have been a much bigger market than it is now.
Yes, let's say for us, of course, but I would say that the market of Switzerland is still as big as it used to be. Business changed completely, but of course, uh, before there was much more production in Switzerland, but there is still a lot of decision making in Switzerland. But then, of course, if you want to grow as a company, let's say as a freight forwarder like us, I mean, we reached, after you can say 10, 20 years, a certain level in the freight forwarding community. And then it's more difficult to go from there, from, let's say, if you're already somewhere in the top 10. So, of course, we went then abroad. So you can say the smaller the country, the quicker you go abroad. Swiss companies go very quickly abroad because their own market is very little. Let's say if you are American, you can stay American forever. The market is huge.
So when did that period of growth really happen?
I would say there were two, three periods of growth. That was in the 70s, 80s, when you can say there was a boom in the global economy. And then I would say we had already a very good network, but we were regarded more like a regional country. And then, of course, I have to say something good about me. The second wave came then when I took the helm and could really go on further and make it global.
Tell us how big Fract is today and what your main business is.
Fracht has nowadays about 2,000 people in 160 branches in around 60 countries. And the good thing is we are what I call 1,000 foot. That means if one business is not doing somewhere so good or one region, we have still 999 other legs that bring us forward. We are most probably the most regionalized company that exists. While we sit here in the head office in Basel, uh, there are three people in Basel that really manage the whole company. All the rest, all the decision making is being done at the regional and national level.
And what's a typical day like for you?
I get up at 5. I work until 6 in the evening, and then I'll see whether there is a company dinner.
And I know you're just back from Africa.
Okay, we are a kind of niche forwarder, or you can say we are looking for the opportunities. And of course, the opportunities are not in the, let's say, main markets where everybody is. So East-West, that means USA, China, or China, Europe. Of course, we're doing it, and hopefully we're doing it very well. But we looked, there is also a market north-south. That means from the US to South America, or, for example, from Europe to Africa. And Africa is maybe the hidden pearl as such, but then, of course, there is also a reason why Africa has not developed that well over the last 20, 30 years. We are of the opinion that the future is really very good for Africa, and also we have to see that Africa has a good future, because otherwise the African situation could turn into a problem, especially for Europe.
One piece of news that caught my attention recently was your acquisition of Quality Freight in Ireland. Tell us about that and why you were interested in that particular market and that company.
Actually, it's correct that lately we did some acquisitions, but you can say it's not that we are interested in making acquisitions, but that people come to us. And it's family-owned companies that are looking for a good succession of their company, and that feel the culture, the family culture, which they had in the past, should continue. And so they don't want to sell to one of the big multinational corporations. And then there are few companies left, like Fracht, that have this personal culture really. And then, yes, with many of them we find common grounds, and I think no one has ever regretted to sell his small company to Fracht. I can really say that that's true, and that makes me also very proud. I mean, you have to keep your promises, and this is what we do every day.
So if somebody wants to sell, they know who to call.
They can call, and they get quickly a good reply. Usually, it starts with they come with an idea of a price, and I sell. I can only pay you half. And then they say, thank you, but it's not enough, and I have a much better offer. And then I say, look, I fully understand you. Check your better offer. And 8 out of 10 are coming back after some months and say, look, is your offer still valid? And then we have some talks.
And Ireland? What's going on in Ireland that caught your interest?
Ireland is a beautiful market. It's also a beautiful island. It's not so big. That means you don't have everybody there yet. And it's really the company that is exactly on the same page as we are. And so I said that we would be fools not to do it.
So this was mostly about projects or general freight or?
Both. And this is one of our big strengths. Come again with the 999 foot. The project business is variable. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. The general cargo business is much more steady. So with general cargo business, you have a base, and then you have sometimes good projects, but sometimes the project market is very dull, and then the general cargo helps over that time.
So you've seen and interacted with a lot of different freight forwarding companies. Where do small freight forwarders go wrong when they're building their company? Or to put it another way, what can they do right to make it attractive to be acquired or to grow?
Well, there are always steps in a company. I mean, you can be a local company extremely efficient and profitable, but it's very difficult nowadays from the next step, from a local company to an international company. That's a big step. Uh, I mean, you have also these, how do you call them, project communities or so on, where the small guys,
The networks, the
networks,
networks.
correctly, the networks, which is a good thing for small companies, because really it's a big step from a small company to get a bigger company. The problem is, of course, then what we said is a succession. What is happening after 20, 30 years when maybe you come to the end of your business life? To sell a small company then to a very big forwarder is difficult, because it's a different culture. And then there's, of course, also the question, how much money do you want to make? Do you really have to make the maximum out of the sale of the business, or is it really worth it that you find the best place for your employees, for your customers, for your suppliers, for the continuity? I think sometimes we're really too much focused on the money.
And you've spoken before about the importance of not borrowing money. Why do you say that?
That's very easy, because you always have to pay back at the worst time. Really, if you can do it with your own money, and if we look especially today's time, uh, it has never been so fluctuating. Every day the news can change the world, and you never know what's going to happen. And then to have a big debt is a big, big burden.
Mm. And the sale of DB Schenker to DSV, what's the impact you think that will have on the market? And also, what's the future for the independent forwarder?
Okay, it already happened. It was a good thing for us. It was a good thing for many other medium-sized or bigger forwarders, because let's say a lot of people have left Schenker, a lot of good people. In my opinion, it was a wrong decision by the Bahn to sell Schenker. Uh, but of course, they needed money. I mean, DSV is a extremely efficient company, so they will make it a success for them as well. Uh, but I think the market has not won uh, with the disappearance of Schenker. On the contrary,
And the future for the independent project forwarder?
I mean, if you want the the bigger the bigger gets, the more room is for the others. So you can say also for us, if there are mergers of big ones or they are being bought away, we are just moving up the ladder. And then one thing, I mean, especially if we speak projects, project is knowledge and experience and know-how, and it has very little to do with the size of the company.
But you said you're not interested in selling Fracht.
No way.
So what, in the end, it'll just be Fracht and DSV? The
Maybe,
last men standing.
maybe, but really to a certain extent, this, okay, smiling. But the last man standing is something we're not looking forward to it. I think it's terrible how many good companies disappear.
And what are the most attractive markets for Fracht at the moment? You've obviously got a global view. Where are you excited about?
Excited, really nowhere, especially with the political problems between the global powers. It's extremely difficult to see the visibility. And I mean, there have been surprises all over the place. Everybody was really banking on the wind industry, let's say, in projects. At the moment, it looks as if the oil industry would be again the big winners. Who knows what is in the next 2 years? I think one should really try to be as balanced as ever possible, because the waves change that quickly. It's unseen.
But you're in both of those markets, so whether it's oil and gas or wind, renewables, Fracht will be there.
Yes, the 999 foot.
We're thrilled that the first series of Project Cargo Professionals is exclusively sponsored by Varamar Shipping. Founded in 2009 by shipping serial inventor Alexander Varvarenko, Varamar specializes in bulk, breakbulk, heavy lift, and oversized shipments, and is a trusted carrier to and from Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. At Varamar, massive structures like wind turbines or entire factories are a day-to-day business, and as a semi-liner carrier, they can offer tailor-made solutions, calling wherever and whenever you need them to. With offices in 13 countries, including recent openings in Asia, they're bridging the East-West gap. A multilingual team, fluent in languages from English and German to Arabic and Chinese, means communication is seamless. Visit varamar.com to find out more, and ask them about their new regular service connecting the Middle East, India, Indonesia, and Australia. Visit varamar.com. Now back to the show. As well as buying companies, I know you also like to invest in other businesses outside of the sector. Tell us about your interest there, what kind of businesses you invest in, and maybe some of the more successful or more interesting companies you've been involved with.
Okay, if you're lucky, you fall on your feet. If you're unlucky, you fall on a different piece of your body. So let's say, yes, I tried also for some investments outside of the logistics industry. And there, I would say I have more or less a 50-50 success rate. So you can say anybody could have done as good as I have done or better. But nowadays, I really focus extremely on whatever could be sometime interesting for the logistics business. So this is, of course, a very wide range nowadays. I mean, it all goes with regards to digitalization of things. And here we are at the beginning of a completely new era now with the artificial intelligence, which will change a lot, while, of course, the goods still have to be moved. I mean, you have the digital things that will hopefully make things easier, will change also the job roles extremely, but then you have to move things by road, rail, or ship, and that's something that will remain. So I invested in some of these future technologies, in blockchain, in drones. I'm looking actually in new ways how to work with ships on low water levels in the rivers, because with the environmental problems, you have to see what are we doing if the rivers have less water. A lot of cargo that has to move by water, and by the way, it's the most environmental friendly way to move the goods. We are investing in different types of rail wagons, because rail is also much more environmental friendly than road. And also, let's say, the rail networks are actually in a better state than the road infrastructure. So there is really a lot of different companies and assets that, let's say, I personally and Fracht as a company are investing, but it's all about logistics and transport of goods somewhere in a very broad or surrounding.
So you get approached for these investment opportunities.
No, I really pick them. I love what I'm doing. So, I mean, I told you a bit my day. I love to read the new developments, and you can say I've never invented something. Unfortunately, I would have loved to be an inventor, but I'm more or less always the second guy that stands at the inventor and says, "Hey, this is a good idea. Can I partner up with him?" And sometimes it works, and sometimes he says, "I'm sorry, but I already have another one."
And you've also become known as the sponsor of Inter Miami FC. Tell us the story about that.
Okay, I mean, maybe here we have to go back a bit. Football is, since the beginning of the company, in our DNA. I would say we have a very old Fracht football club in Basel where we still go playing football every Thursday. And no, my father,
You too?
me too, still at my young age of 63, but there you see also we're a special company. I'm in a team, but I'm also the referee. So
Ah.
funnily, we win more games than the others. But I try to be neutral. But I always say, look, there is always a tomorrow in the office, and everybody knows it. So they accept my decisions. No, but my father was doing a lot of good for the poor of the world. With sports event, with cultural events. That was in the 70s and in the 80s. And so we were very close to to football, but also to other sports. But then more and more the money side came into sports, and then Inter Miami, they wanted us. Apparently they wanted us as a sponsor for some time, but we said, look, we're out of football. And then they said, we're signing up Messi. And Messi is more than football, really. It's a one-time chance, really, to have the GOAT in your team. While, let's say, we hope that we are the GOAT of project freight forwarding, but at least we have the GOAT of football in our team, and it worked out in every aspect for us. It's especially what's rewarding that somehow we have a team, the Fracht team, and Messi is part of the Fracht team. So it somehow made us all very proud. It's very strange. It's not that you can say it brought us so much money. It did not bring us the money really that we spent. It's not marketing, it's sponsoring. I think if you do marketing, you have to have the value of your money on the table. If it's sponsoring, there must be something beyond it. There must be an idea somehow, a reflection that you don't get the same amount of money back of what you paid.
So it's helped you stand out in the market, I think.
Yes, absolutely. But here we have to be fair. It's not because of us, it's because of Messi. It will come to an end once, but we will run around with the Messi shirt for many, many years to come.
And tell us about your plans for the future, both personally and for Fracht.
Okay, personally, when I look at the mirror, I see a very young guy. When I look in my passport, I see a older guy. But it means I still have, let's say, very big plans for the company. But we think that we have really an extremely good team on board, that we will master all the challenges that are coming. And we really want to provide the best services for our customers for really so many years to come. We have pride in what we're doing. For us, it's not about earning money. Of course, we have to earn money because you have to be profitable to have a future. But for us, we're proud with every business that we've handled well. I think if you're only in the business for money, I'm now in the business since 46 years. I would not be in the business for 46 years if it's only about money. It's really the spirit that you love what you're doing, and you love to see the success that the projects have run well, that the power stations are running, and that you say, I've been part of this or the other venture. That makes us proud. Of course, I want to make the company also ready then for the next generation, for my daughter to take it maybe even to the next level.
Tell us about your daughter. What does she think when you go home and you start talking about the freight business?
Okay, she did not start she started at 5 also. I took
Wow.
her to the company, and there is a small anecdote. I mean, I told her, or even my father or her grandfather said, uh, now your daddy is the boss. And I'm just there. We went to the office. She looked around and she said, you're sitting here and Opa Ruedi sits there. I said, yes. Then she said, but Opa Ruedi has the bigger chair. Huh? So, I mean, I would say with 5, she was already very clever to see who's the real boss of the company. And no, she really has the will, the dedication, and also the intelligence that she could do it. She just finished a master degree in whatever this is called, commerce and so on. She makes a doctorship now in logistics, something I always wanted to do, but I cannot say I'm not clever enough because I have not tried some, but maybe so I was clever not to try that. We will never know. But no, I would say it's all set. Whether it will work, this you can not say. That's really the aim.
And what do you think or hope she'll do with it?
Continue really the same way as we do it, because uh, what is our winning way? Our winning way is the personal culture. We, with all the digitalization coming, everything, we want to be a human and humanitarian company. That's really our credo, and all the rest she can change then one day to her liking. But please never change the culture of the company.
Well, we'd like to finish with a question from somebody in the industry.
Hi, Rudy. It's Alan Folds here, Director of the Wind Division for Tembo in Africa. My question is, Fracht has always had an impressive strategy of purchasing businesses within the freight forwarding world. How do you identify suitable companies to bring into the Fracht group, and what are the complexities faced during the integration process? My second question: there are many freight forwarding companies entering into the onshore wind turbine transportation business in Africa. We see it every day. Do you have intentions to enter this market, and where do you see the largest potential? Thank you.
Okay. As said, we are found, not we are looking for, because I think if you look for something, it's very tough to find the right thing. It's best if you fall over it and then you examine it. We still are very old fashioned. The trust is actually the most important, and it's the company culture of the other company. We would never buy a company where the culture of the other company is different to ours. So you see from the beginning whether there is the same understanding, whether their idea is really to make the maximum out of the sale of the company, or whether they are looking for the best solution, as is what I said before, for their employees and customers. And then it goes really quick whether you find a common ground or not. Figures is something that only show the past. It's what you do afterwards with it. I mean, you pay for the past, but you buy the future. So you can analyze only the past, and the rest you must have really the feeling. Is it going the way they are thinking, or do you think that will be difficult? So for us, the feeling is actually much more important than the figures. The figures, they make the amount of what you pay. The feeling is the amount of what you will get.
And complexities during the integrating process. How do you bring these companies into Fracht?
Our approach is, if we buy some company, we buy it to keep it and not to slice it. Of course, we look for synergies and everything, but if you look, practically all the companies that we bought, they still have their own name. Polytra, which used to be a very famous Belgian African company. We still have the name of Nuno. It's now Nuno Fracht. It was Nuno Ferreira in Brazil at that time. We have in Thailand Dextra Transport. So you see, we keep the names, the people, the spirit of the company and we just integrate it into our network. And that means there is the complexity is practically not existing in our company.
And you have a good guy on the job. Our friend Dominic is involved in that, isn't he?
Not a good one, the best one.
And Alan's second question, he's in South Africa and he says there are many freight forwarding companies entering the onshore wind turbine transportation business in Africa. Do you have intentions to enter this market?
Here again, we are with the wind market. I presently see also in Africa other business like the mining business, for example, or even the oil and gas business as, let's say, more interesting than the wind business. I mean, wind, I see at the moment in Europe. It was up to a month ago in the United States, but in Africa, honestly, I would prefer the sun in Africa than the wind.
And lastly, just tell us about your interests and what you like to do outside of work. I think we've got Carnival coming up, is that right?
Yes, we've got Carnival, the 3 nicest days in Basel, where you can say also the Basel people change a bit. If you want, I like to smile in life. So that's also in business. I like to smile, but in private life. So I like to have fun, like in Carnival. I go to football games. I try to keep in shape while I've just seen really that I'm not that good in shape as I thought I was. So I have to intensify these efforts. But yeah, I would say life is good.
Ruedi Reisdorf, living the good life in Switzerland, and who could blame him? Thanks for listening to another episode of Project Cargo Professionals, powered by Varamar. If you enjoyed the show, be sure to follow or subscribe. Got feedback or a guest suggestion? Reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, let's keep in touch. Follow me, Luke King, on LinkedIn, and check out our website, projectcargopros.com.